So at the beginning of this year, I quit my job to travel around Finland to photograph people, interview them, and share those stories with you. They're mostly just people I met off the internet, strangers, total strangers. And that raises some pretty valid questions. So before we get into it, I'm gonna overlay some footage here of just a walk I was taking the other day. I was photographing some critters on the way, so you'll see a few nature photos as well. And my cat is destroying something over there, so hopefully the audio is good. Anyways, I got some coffee, I got some notes, so I'm just gonna go right into it. So the photo project that I'm doing, traveling around, meeting people, it's all free of charge. And the project is called Stitched With. And you might have been following along already, maybe you haven't, maybe you're new here. Please do stick around, there's some great information. A couple of things I want to get out of the way. First of all, I want to thank OnniBus. They are the best. This would never have happened without them. So if you've enjoyed the episodes, or I've come out and met you, or I'm coming out to meet you, you owe them just as much thanks as I do. They're amazing. I love the people there. Makia Clothing, awesome. Again, I wouldn't have survived without the clothing they provided me, and they did that just because they thought that the project was cool. So massive, massive love to them. I don't own proper winter clothing, and they hooked me up so good. I was able to shoot outside for hours and hours and hours, and the quality of their stuff allowed that to happen. On top of that, Vallerret Gloves, they make really cool photography gloves. If you're a photographer, especially in a cold climate, check them out because they just make an awesome product like that I just didn't really think was possible. It was always in my head that I want these kind of gloves, and there's a company that actually makes them. They're awesome too. So thank you. Thank you obviously to everybody who messaged and DM'd and that I've met and that have hosted me, that's offered me beds, all of those things. Like, this goes without saying, but you guys are awesome. And just everybody who's checked out the videos, of course. So I wanted to make this video because the last time I actually really spoke about it at all in any length was when I invited you to be a part of it. So I was looking for volunteers. So for those who don't know, I put a message up on social media, made a reel, and I just asked people, are you willing to be a part of a free photo project? I'll come out and I'll photograph you. Tons and tons and tons of people saw it, and I got loads of comments and DMs, not just on Instagram, but also on TikTok as well. And that was pretty crazy, actually. I realized quickly there's no way to organize those messages in the inbox. So some of you, you got lost. I'm going to be honest. If I was to reply to everybody, it just would have been like a full-time job. It would have taken time away from the actual project. So I'm really sorry. It's likely at this point that I actually read your message, and some of you I still plan on messaging back because the year is going on and this is a full year project. So otherwise, I have limited it to people living in Finland. So I did get a bunch of messages from tourists, for example, and I'm sorry I just won't get to you. I do really want to make this about the people of Finland. You don't have to be born in Finland, but I like it that it's just all about people living here. I live here too, so yeah, it's a national project. Otherwise, there were also people like dogs and stuff. I'm sorry, this is about people, not your dog. There was just, I mentioned that because it was surprisingly a lot. So yeah, it's not limited to anybody unless you're living in Finland. The participants are going to range from gold medalists, single moms, artists, small business owners, construction workers, like everybody. It's crazy who reached out. So thank you again. Biggest part right now, and to allow this project to continue, if you're enjoying it or you're excited about it, is funding. I am at a point where it's pretty difficult to continue at the rate that we're going. YouTube's changed a bunch of things in their algorithm, but it also just relies on people watching the videos. That's the best thing you can do. Watch the videos from the project and share them. But otherwise, if you're in media, or I don't know, even someone who works in grants and stuff, please be in contact. This is such a great project. It's really great for Finland. It's all about connection and conversation and highlighting the people of Finland. And I don't know anybody else who's doing something to this scale. And at this point, I'm doing it essentially all alone, without, like I say, the help of these companies as well. But it's my expenditure is little, but the rest of it comes out of my pocket. So please help me out. So another very valid question is why. And basically, I'm just feeling the same disconnect and lack of optimism as everybody else. I was looking to open a tattoo studio when I came back to Finland from a holiday, and instead I put my resources into this because I just felt like, everybody's talking about a really bad job market and people, really struggling with money. So what are you not getting when you don't have money? It's luxury items. And I wanted to do something to actually help people rather than kind of just, you know, shill my drawings of dragons or whatever. And I just didn't want to sit around complaining. I mean, I'm all for complaining. Don't get me wrong. I do plenty of it, but I also just want to be doing something, especially something positive. Everybody also complains about social media. It puts us in connection with so many people. Like, you can contact basically anybody you want at any point, and people use that to just like leave negative comments on someone's music video or whatever. It's always been insane to me, and we can change people's lives with it, literally. You can band together with like a few hundred people, can completely change the trajectory of someone's business, and people just don't do it. I don't know how to express that in a nicer way or less negative way, but maybe we all know that, but then very few people do anything about it. That to me is crazy. So that's part of the reason why as well. And I'm just hoping it inspires more people to realize how much more we have in common, and that there's just such a wide range of people out there. You don't need to be discussing politics, and you don't need to be at each other's throats about like social things or whatever. Like, most people just want what's good for you, and for you to just be like healthy doing your own thing. That's the reality of it. And of course, same conversation as always that you've heard a million times. People just are at each other's throats constantly, like constantly. And I just want to be going out there to make something positive, to make something with a stranger, to have a first conversation, a first hug, a first coffee, like whatever it is. Just to be going out and do that. And that's where the idea of the name came from. The project I called Stitched With, and it's a reference to a popular social media platform where you can stitch your videos to somebody else's. And I was often just seeing that kind of used to like troll people or dunk on people, you know, like someone says something, you stitch your videos to theirs and you just slam them. Like, I get it. There's a time and a place for that, sure thing. But I just thought it was kind of lame. Like, you're not connecting, you're not hyping people up. You're just trying to like slam a stranger, you know, across the other side of the world, and you're behind your screen, and there's no real repercussions for it. And I was just kind of thinking, like, people wouldn't do that in real life for the most part. So I'm going to stitch my story with somebody else's and do it in a really positive way, or try to. You know, just remove the phones, remove the screens, and now we have to react to each other face to face and own what we say. You know, I'm a bit older than, you know, maybe some of the people viewing, I'm not sure, but that's how I grew up. You know, I grew up pre-internet, and also different culture to Finland too, if you're watching from Finland. Where owning what you say and standing up for what you say was like part of the package, because you didn't really have another option unless you were writing letters like it was the Middle Ages or something. But more importantly, yeah, just have a meaningful experience rather than this disconnected, like faux communication that ultimately just leaves you hollow, because, you know, views and likes aren't ever going to be as fulfilling as what you hoped they were. And I still believe that the camera is a powerful tool. I know that maybe photography and even video sometimes aren't what they used to be, or just that they're not making the same impact at times. But I really do think that the camera has the chance to make the world a better place, or to use that as a tool to do that. And even if that's just inspiring another photographer or a videographer, helping a small business, or making someone feel good about their body, you know, those things are just infinitely positive. Like, if you can go out and make someone feel good about their body, how they look in photos, or help their small business, that's like an insanely more positive thing to be doing than just being like angry online, maybe sharing an article and like having a rage argument, typing paragraphs into Facebook with some other dude. Like, what are you up to? Like, use that time and the energy to just go do something better, and what will spiral outwards from that, like the effect of it and the positivity that will come of that, is so much more. I won't go on about that anymore. How kind of brushed over it a little bit. Yeah, kind of just using the resources that I had that I was going to use to start another business. Although, like I said, that's running out. I really do need to get some help on that. The original idea was that for people to watch the YouTube videos, I get paid through YouTube. I continue doing these things for free. It's pretty much it. There's other links and stuff down below that you can use to donate. I also have a website where you can buy prints and stuff like that. I think there's some really beautiful stuff there. I know it's a little bit pricey by the looks of it, but shipping is included, so it can post right to you, and the quality of everything is really high. Like I only work with a really good printer. So yeah, go and check those out. There's even like t-shirts and stuff there too if you want. I'm gonna get into some questions too of people who asked because I wanna. But if you have questions, I'll make videos like these again in the future. It can even just be about being a photographer or creative or travel, whatever it is, you can ask. But one of the questions that was posed to me was from Tuomas, and he basically asked why Finland. And well, it's a pretty easy one. I live here, and I've been living here for 13 years. The deeper answer is that I kind of felt like I wanted to continue squeeze a bit of enjoyment out of Finland. I think if you're anywhere long enough, you can get pretty jaded. You get stuck in your own bubbles. You live in one city, you go from, you know, home to work or whatever. So this was my way of getting out of all that, still seeing the life that exists in this country, to be re-inspired after all these years. And I know there's so many of these stories hidden everywhere, and especially with the language. You know, I speak English as a native language, and so does a lot of the rest of the world, but they don't get to experience things from Finland very often. And I can speak from experience. Like I have friends who write music in Finnish, write books in Finnish, and there's probably even companies and whatever, content and everything that's in Finnish. It's a good thing. You should use Finnish in Finland or Swedish. But the rest of the world doesn't get to experience that, you know? So in some cases, we're telling Finnish people about saunas and ice swimming and reindeer farming. Like we all know that exists at this point. So my goal was to also, you know, get people to speak their often second language or third language in English, so that we can share that with the rest of the world. You know, an Australian might be super interested in reindeer farming because Australians, you know, they don't have reindeer, as far as I know. I'm from New Zealand, by the way. We don't have reindeer. Or ice swimming, you know, like maybe someone like in Namibia who speaks English is like watching an ice swimming video going like, what the hell, this is crazy. So I know that stuff exists because I've been here, I've traveled around a bunch, and I just really wanted to highlight Finland from my own point of view, and also just give people the chance to share their story. Yeah, like on not just to other Finns, but to the world potentially. And that might help them, help their business, whatever it is. I think it's a very cool thing. So the next thing I want to talk about is the model. Like, how is it when I actually show up? How does this thing work? And how does it work for you if you're taking part? But a lot of people had that question when I first started. Now there's a bunch of episodes up, so you can kind of get some idea, but maybe some of the behind the scenes stuff is a little more unclear. Mikael, my good friend, actually asked me a great question about that, which was how do I position myself in relation to the people that are featured? So he's essentially asking that question, and he was asking, like, you know, are you ingrained? Are you a part of it? Or are you trying to be an outsider and more like documenting? And the answer to that is I try to be involved as much as I can. I have realized, as he also asked as well, like what have I learned on the way? I've realized that that's quite hard to do when you're juggling 3 cameras. So I'm usually filming on about 2 cameras, and I'm photographing on 1. And I'm also trying to interview, trying to record audio, all these sort of things as well. So I'm trying to be a part of it as much as I can. I want to take part in the experiences. It's also for me, you know, I really, really, really like meeting these people and having these conversations, and it's super fulfilling. But yeah, in practice, yeah, there's been some difficulties, some things to learn, and I think I always leave feeling really fulfilled, but sometimes I leave feeling like I didn't get enough, or I wasn't completely in the zone enough, like connected with the people. I might have got the work done, and then I'll feel like, did I seem detached and not paying attention enough, or whatever it is, because I'm thinking about cameras, or then vice versa. Like I'm locked in with the person, we're having great chats, great yarns, and then I'm like, oh, I'm not filming or photographing any of this. So that's been the balance. But yeah, trying to be involved as much as I can, and if possible, whether it can be that way when I'm carrying around cameras, I'm just trying to be a new friend, basically, like someone who shows up and we're going to hang out. And I do think it's been pretty successful, generally speaking, so I'm happy about that. Heiki asked a really good question. He asks, I'm really interested to hear how you manage those social interactions with the people you meet, aka the strangers, especially in the street photography where there's not always an agreement beforehand to be photographed. Have you always been an extrovert or an outspoken person who, or is it something I've learned along the way? Sincerely, a Finn that loves street photography but is scared to death about social interactions with strangers, especially negative ones. It's a very common thing for all street photographers, but I think for Finnish people a lot too. Beautiful question, man. Thank you so much. As far as this project goes, it is a lot easier. These people volunteered, so they know what's going to happen when I show up. I can understand still sometimes that there will be some skepticism because at the end of the day, we don't know each other. And, you know, now again, like people have seen episodes and stuff, so they know I'm not just out there to go and like meme on somebody, but you never know. And a lot of these people are speaking their, like I say, second or third language was English, and maybe even getting interviewed for the first time. So it makes you a bit nervous. I would say, to answer your question, and what I say to a lot of people is that I'm an introvert with good social skills. So I was raised to have good social skills, might have been a New Zealand culture thing, but also in particular, I remember my parents just made sure that we were never scared of visitors. And even when you didn't want to, like when you were really young, you still had to come out of your room or come in from outside and shake hands with the person that had come to visit, you know, introduce yourself, or if you know them, say hi. And, you know, you could always go back to your room or whatever, but it was just, I was brought up with it, and I don't know, I think it's just been developed, yeah, probably a bit as well, like just through working in customer service jobs and stuff, like meeting tons and tons of people. But I have a social battery for sure, and a lot of the time when I leave this project with the person, I'm pretty tired. Like, and it's not because the person was draining, not because they're boring, like whatever. It's just how I am. I like to be locked in, and I like to be really with the person. But yeah, it costs me energy. The other side of me, like I don't know what you call it, the soul or the spirit, for lack of a better word, is like very full. I just want to also put headphones on for a while, listen to music, and just like zone out, which is usually on the OnniBus home, so it kind of works out perfect. As far as street photography goes, I'll talk about that at length maybe later. Similar kind of thing, basically same approach. You just have to go out and do it, and yes, it'll be difficult, but I want to represent street photography as a good thing, because it is a good thing. And at the moment it's catching a lot of heat because people are complaining about a lot of people's approaches and people's anonymity or a sense of privacy and all this sort of stuff, which is hilarious since, you know, we use these apps and everything. Anyways, I want to represent street photography well. I know it's a beautiful art form, it's a very important art form, and I want to go out there and be the best representative of it as I can. So I just don't want to hide, and I don't want to run from confrontation if it does come my way. I don't expect people to understand it, and I don't expect them to trust me or know what I'm doing. And it's my job to communicate to them that if they have any questions. If someone says, hey, how you doing? Did you take my photo or whatever? It's my job to be upfront with that person and try to have that conversation. Best case scenario, I'm just like, hey bro, my bad, I'm an artist, I'm just trying to do my thing. Here's the photo, look, I can send it to you if you like it. If not, I can delete it for you. And it's the worst case scenario if the person's still a bit annoyed and wants me to delete the photo. But that almost never happens. I don't think it's happened to me once. So yeah, just go out there and just be pillar of positivity. Anyways, it's street photography related, but I will maybe do a longer video on that later. But thank you for the question, bro. And I think for anybody else, hopefully they find that interesting. Hanna asked a cool question, which I think is probably the most obvious one and the one that people ask the most, so it's an important one to be asking and answering, which is basically, how do I choose the people and what sparks my interest? I chose the people, well, I mean, kind of on instinct in a way, and also I wanted to make a very full picture of Finland. So I wanted to include, you know, immigrants to all ages, all races, all credences, like whatever it is, all jobs. That's what I'm trying to do the most. I'm getting there slowly, I hope. And that was pretty much it. I mean, the only thing that became difficult in that sense was that you would have multiples of the same thing. So you get someone who reach out who plays a classical instrument, for example, and you'd get 15 of them. Like there'd just be like 15 people like, hey, I play cello at a really high level. I'm in the orchestra or whatever. Or then people who are like, I breed dogs. and you just are, then you have to choose, because I can't just do 12 people who breed dogs. So the hardest part in that, or the thing that I tried to do in that, was, I guess, select the most interesting one, or someone who filled another gap. Like, let's say it was someone who breeds dogs and they were 65 years old, male, then I could go like, oh, I don't really have any like older men in the series yet, so I'd choose them out of that lot, because it just ticked another box. Or maybe it was in a town that I hadn't got on the list yet, and a place that I hadn't set out to visit, so I want to cross that off as well. That was pretty much it. Like I say, there were so many people, and are so many people, that I'm not going to get to at least this year, because I don't know, the math on it would be like I'd have to film like 8 or 9 people a week to get through all of the messages and comments this year. That's impossible, especially to, I've got to edit. So for reference, I'm doing about 1 to 2 a week filming is what I'm at right now, and the editing takes a long time. I think that was all the questions. Again, if you have any more, please do leave them in the comments box and I will get to those. The messages is something that a lot of people asked about as well, understandably, because I didn't respond to everybody. It just would have taken time away from the project. I think I talked mostly anyways throughout this video about messaging in general, but yes, I'm still accepting messages. I'm still accepting people into the project if you're interested. I don't promise any responses at this point. However, there are people that I've read messages from. I still plan on replying to you. I'm sorry if I didn't reply to you. It would just taken too much time. That's all that it really is. It's nothing personal at all. It's not because you didn't look interesting or anything silly like that. As I say, you just might have been the 7th girl in their 20s who paints. I can't do them all. Otherwise, that'd be a whole nother series, Lapland is another thing that people ask a lot about. I want to come to Lapland really bad. The only thing that is difficult for me is that I need to travel from the south of Finland to Lapland. So I can't really like day trip it. It takes a day just to get there, and to only stay 1 or 2 days and then bus all the way back. It just feels like not the best use of time. So what I want to do is organize a larger stay, like a week or so, or even more, where I can hop around, but I just don't have any places to stay. I mean, some of you have offered, I'm really grateful for that, and I might be hitting you up about those, but I don't have hotels, I don't have a budget to be getting those things. That makes that whole thing, traveling that far up, a lot easier. So that's the plan. Just like organize some places to stay for a longer trip, and I would like to do that once in the summer, so that I get the Lapland in the summer, and I'd like to do it again in the winter, so I get the winter side. So it'll be right at the end of the year. Outside of that, end goals are just to scale it up. I would like to eventually take this international and share more stories from all around the world. I like traveling. I think, this whole project is really cool to keep inside Finland, but the same philosophy of it could just be applied to a larger scale. So Finnair, hit me up and we can travel around. Otherwise, I would like to make a book and an exhibition from this project, especially if I can get to this full length of the year, and just add more and more people, reach a particular number that I have in my head, and make a book out of it, and an exhibition and a launch party, and invite all the people and have people talk, and all these things would be really cool. That's the end goal. I think that is covering a ton of information. So if you've listened this far, thank you so much. This is a bit of a podcast, but I think this video was just due. And if you're still here, it's probably because you're interested in the project in general. I know I talked fast and said a lot of stuff, but yeah, otherwise the main things are, thank you. We need funding. Well, I need funding. There is no we, it's just me. I'm filming, editing, and doing all these things for this project. So yeah, if you can help in any way, please do. But the best thing you can also do is just watch the videos, and I won't keep you any longer. That's about it. Thank you so much. We'll see you next week for a new episode of Stitched With. Peace.